Rodney Allen got off to maybe the best start of any of the Rox pitchers this season. Was 2-0 with a 1.50 earned run average in May. Gave up only 6 hits in 12 innings. 3 walks, 12 strikeouts. He was looking about as strong as the Rox could have possibly hoped. Things started to fall apart in his third start on June 4th against Allentown. Took his first loss of the season. Only lasted 4 innings, gave up 7 runs, 5 of them earned. That seemed to send him into a tailspin from which he has never really been able to recover. And his last 3 starts have just been awful. I mean, to be perfectly blunt, you can't really candy coat that one because they haven't. I think Rodney knows it. Now Dokes is at second, Hargraves is at first. There's 1 out, and the first pitch to Ross is swung on and missed. 0-1 the count. Donnie Ross has managed only 6 hits in his last 37 at-bats. He's been stuck on 11 homers for a long time. Strong left-handed hitter against the right-hander Allen, who rocks and fires. That pitch is hit well. Deep to right field, way back, and gone. Donnie Ross no longer stuck on 11 home runs. Number 12 makes it a 4-3 ball game.
Rodney Allen had played college football for West Virginia and brought that football mentality to the baseball field for his professional career, which started in the Atlanta Braves organization in 1996. 2 seasons with the Braves and 1 with the Texas Rangers. Then, after a couple seasons of independent ball, he was able to catch the attention of the Milwaukee Brewers and played 3 seasons in their organization, working his way to Double-A ball. Rodney signed with the Rox late in the 2002 season with the hopes of performing well enough to get another shot at organized ball. He pitched extremely well for Brockton in his 9 starts, but no offers came his way, so it was back to the Rox in 2003, and they were glad to have him, even if he wasn't necessarily thrilled to be back. If Rodney had pitched like he did in 2002, the staff could have dominated the Northeast League, but he did not. Rodney just didn't show that same football mentality that he demonstrated the previous season. He seemed distracted. Many times I'd see him with a phone pressed to his ear, discussing with someone details of the home that he was having built. Other players were shaking their head when he would do that on the team bus, and pitching coach John Duffy expressed his displeasure. They also had words when Rodney showed up late to practice one day. Whether that was all negatively affecting his performance on the field or not, perception is reality, and the decision makers felt it was time for a change.
Inning started off with a walk. Sandy Martinez, not what you want to do when you're trying to protect a huge lead. You want to challenge the number 9 guy. And Martinez walked on 4 pitches. It's come back to cost the Rox a run. Now Donnie Ross steps in. First pitch, misses inside. Ross able to check his swing. Appeal down to third base, and no swing, says Tom Clark. So the count 1-0 now to Ross. Ross is 1 for 3. His 1 hit was a 3-run homer back in the 3rd inning, his 12th round tripper of the season. Long look in for the sign by Allen. That pitch misses up high, and now it's 2-0 to Ross, and here comes Ed Noddle. So it looks like Allen has really lost his focus now. And Noddle's not even going to wait till he gets out to the mound. He has already signaled to the bullpen. So Rodney Allen is being pulled from this ball game. Hands the ball off to Ed Noddle and trots off of the field.
That would be it for Rodney with the Rox. He actually earned the victory in that 15-7 win over Bangor, which pushed Brockton's second-half record to 12-11. He would be released after that road trip by the Rox. He would be signed by Quebec and pitched a couple games for them late in the season, but that was it for Rodney's professional playing career. I understand that Rodney went back to West Virginia, began a career in selling insurance, and I'm sure he did quite well. He's a sharp guy, and I wish him well. One more Rodney story. He was the only player to thank me for a little confrontation I had with manager Ed Noddle on the team bus in mid-July. We were returning home from Elmira, and Ed was smoking his cigarettes on the bus. Now, if Ed wants to smoke cigarettes, that's his choice. People can choose their own poison, and I will defend their right to do so. But Ed was smoking in a confined area despite a no smoking sign. Now, the previous season he had done this a few times, but the bus driver had told him not to do it. We had a different bus driver in 2003, a very nice man, but a guy who was very intimidated by Ed, and he wouldn't enforce the rule. Since I usually sat just one row behind Ed, the smoke would blow right back in my face, and it left me sounding very nasally on the air, and it made it difficult to breathe through my nose. So I was holding a can of air freshener, which, if memory serves me right, was brought onto the bus by Coach Chris Miyake, but I wound up with it. So the smoke was blowing back in my face, and I held up the can and would spray it back in Ed's direction. Well, finally, he glanced back and said, "Was that you, Baker?" Poor Joey Baker got blamed for everything. Well, I quickly said, "No, that was me." And Ed snarled, "You do that again, and I'm going to stick this cigarette up your ass." Oh. Now, this had been building for a year and a half, and I stooped to his level and told him that I would stick the can of spray air freshener up his ass. He wheeled around and started to stand up. Now, Ed is 18 years older than me. I used to do a little amateur boxing when I was younger, and so I certainly had no intention of fighting him, but I also did not want him standing over me taking a swing at me, and he looked mad enough to do so at the time, and he was a tough guy. So I jumped up before he could stand up. He reached up and grabbed a hold of my front of my shirt, and I knocked his hand away. That was the only contact that was made. Despite stories that I've heard other people tell that there were punches thrown, no, there were no punches thrown. Joey Baker came up behind me, put me in a bear hug, and pulled me back. And I remember saying to Ed, "Put the cigarette out. There's a no smoking sign right in front of you." And Ed said, "We're going to talk about this when we get back." And I said, "Fine," and sat down. Well, after a couple more beers, Ed took the high road. He turned around, stuck out his hand, and said, "Let's put this behind us." And I was happy to do so because I thought the world of Ed then, and I still think the world of Ed. Well, Coach John Duffy saw me outside of the bus afterwards and came up and said that I definitely was not out of line, which made me feel good. And Rodney Allen came up to me, and I wrote down what Rodney said. He said, "Larry, thanks for doing what all the players wanted to do, but none of us had the balls to do." Rodney, I really appreciated that. Ed cut way back on his smoking. He didn't stop completely, but, he was addicted, so we appreciated him at least cutting way back. So the next night after Rodney Allen's final start, it was Chad Ward on the mound for Brockton against Bangor, and he was dealing.
That pitch is in there for a called strike, and Chad Ward strikes out LeBron for out number 3, second strikeout of the inning. The lefty rocks and fires. That pitch is swung on and missed, so Ward strikes out the side. And at the end of 2 complete, it's the Rocks 3 and the Lumberjacks nothing. Ward rocks and fires, 0-2 pitch, a swing and a miss, and O'Sullivan is down on 3 pitches. Another strikeout for Chad Ward. That's number 8. He is just 1 shy of his season high. Nothing leaving the infield against Ward either. He's really been dominant in this ball game. First pitch to Skylar Doak, swung on, grounded right back to Ward. He flips to first, and another 1-2-3 inning. Chad Ward zipping right along, scored 1-3 on that putout. 7 innings in the books, and the Rocks lead the Lumberjacks 4-3. Hargraves is aboard with a leadoff single here in the 8th inning. Chad Ward had retired 14 in a row. Now pitching into the 8th inning. It is unfamiliar territory for Ward this season. Donnie Ross at the plate now. He is 1 for 2 with a single. That pitch is in there for a called strike. Catches the outside corner, 0-1. Left-hander against left-hander as Ross works against Ward. Ross looking down to third base where Kevin Pinkovich is flashing the signs. They play small ball here with one of the leading home run hitters in the league. Doubtful. But he is squaring to bunt. He lays it down. Back to Ward. Ward picks it up, throws to second. They get the force. Nice play by Chad Ward. The ball was punted pretty sharply back to the mound, and Ward did not hesitate. He wheeled around and threw out Hargraves at second. Chad Ward gives up 7 hits and 1 walk, but so many of those hits back in the third inning were just little broken bat singles, little bloopers, seeing eye singles. It was one of Ward's better efforts of the season. It's anybody's ball game right now. Bases are full. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Connor Brooks rocks and fires. That pitch is swung on and missed. That is the ball game as Brooks strikes out Donnie Ross, and the Rox have taken 3 out of 4 in this series, winning this ball game by a score of 4-3.
That may have been Chad Ward's biggest win for the Rox, but it would also turn out to be his final game for the Rox. Be sure to click the subscribe button to follow my wild and wacky journey with the Brockton Rox, because more episodes are on the way. Thanks for watching.